Hello and welcome to another episode of Laptop Retrospective, and today I have another portable monitor. This one is the Lepow Z1 series portable USB Type-C display. Now, Lepow did send this unit to me for the purpose of this review, and this was not personally purchased. A couple things to note about this monitor is that it is their upgraded model, and the upgraded model is supposed to come with a better color gamut and also increased brightness. So if many people wonder what the difference is between the new one and the old one is, and that is, according to the manufacturer, the differences that we have before us. A couple things to note before we open up this very white and classy box is that it is a 15.6-inch display, and it is a 1080p IPS panel. Viewing angles are reported to be 178 degrees, and our contrast ratio is 1000 to 1. The total package is about 0.34 inches thick and about 1.7 pounds, and features the following connections on it. We do have Mini-HDMI, USB Type-C, both to drive the monitor and power pass-through, as well as a 3.5mm headphone jack, and there are also two 1-watt speakers built into the display. The idea is that this can be used in a variety of different scenarios, to running game consoles on the go, to having a portable display with a little bit of extra sound boost if you have an anemic laptop. So let's go ahead and open this up and see what we get inside the box. Inside the box we have some accessories here. On the right hand side we do have a power brick, which is probably, if you don't have USB Type-C to power the monitor, you will need another method of power delivery if you're just using HDMI. So we get this little wall wart, pretty standard stuff. And here we have a USB-A to USB Type-C cable, likely for use with this to power the monitor if you need that. A piece of foam, and here's our first accessory that they include in the box, which is actually a screen protector. That's kind of nice that they bother to include that. It's not a huge cost for them, so they give it to you. We've got a card in here that shows that these really fancy monitor stands are not included, but you do get a monitor cover and stand with it. We also have a warranty card for 3 years and 6 months. That's actually pretty decent. I'm probably going to fill that out. The next thing on our tour down here is, I'm assuming, the cover, and I might need to just lean this forward to shake it out. Nope, that feels like the monitor and the cover. We'll continue our tour of the accessories. USB Type-C cable, and HDMI to Mini-HDMI. So you actually get a lot of cables included with this. That is really nice to see. You don't have to go out like the printers of yesteryear and buy extra cables to get it to work. We have a frequently asked questions guide here, which talks about connection issues, adapter issues, and it seems to be pretty well written, which is always nice to see. It has different things mentioned here in terms of adapters that you're going to need for specific computers, which is, again, really, really nice. That's probably going to be really important if you're buying this. And just some other information here, including their support material. We've got a cleaning cloth, I'm guessing, patch installation cleaning kit. Yep, that's what that is. And then, of course, we have a user guide. And the user guide goes through a lot of the functions. It tells you where the speakers are, and they're on the side. Thank goodness for that. They're not downward firing, which means that the audio quality should actually be pretty decent. Looks like Mini-HDMI is on this side. USB Type-C, your fully functioning port, is on the left. And then your 3.5mm audio out is there. And then on the right hand side is the power button, the roll key, which is for scrolling through your menus, USB Type-C, which is power delivery only, and then your other speaker. And then it just goes through in very great detail all of the different cable connections that you'll need depending on the type of computer that you have. And yeah, I think this is pretty robust, pretty like it covers all the bases I think that you would need to know. With all that being said, let's take a look at the monitor itself. And it does come with the magnetic case already installed, which is always nice. So we've got some protective film there covering the display. And I actually did look at the manual to figure out how this stand is supposed to work. So once this comes down, what you do is you just push this to the rear, and then the stand literally just sits in one of these two grooves. So you've got a groove here, and then you also have a groove back there. And that seems to work well enough, and you can fold this piece up for that extra bit of support, and you're good to go. It's not rocket science, but for a monitor stand, it really doesn't have to be. The display itself looks like it's built out of some pretty sturdy materials. I don't see too much to be concerned about here. Everything seems to be in the right place. So how about we grab some computers and see what this thing looks like in use. All right, so I have my Surface Book 2 just off to the side here, and I have the USB Type-C cable, and if I read the manual correctly, I should be able to plug it in to this USB port here, and then I'll plug the other end into the USB Type-C connector here, and theoretically, that should be enough, and there we go. I'll go ahead and configure it so it's actually displaying correctly. And I have to say that the colors on this display actually look quite good. I'll move things over just a tiny bit so I'll be able to pan between the two. So on the right, of course, we have the monitor from Lepow, and then on the right is my PixelSense display on the Surface Book 2. And while there is some subtle differences, I would say that if you are looking for colors that pop, you're actually getting a pretty decent setup here. The reds seem to be definitely brighter and almost more flamboyant, I would say. And on the PixelSense display, they're a little bit more muted. But if you're looking for something that has some color pop to it, that is quite acceptable in my books. The next thing that we should probably test out, since we've got the USB Type-C cable plugged in, is how well do these speakers sound. So let's queue up a YouTube video and see how that comes out.
There was always a concern about how people would receive the X300 internally, especially from marketing. Initial studies showed limited success of the product, and others say it was a halo product that would attract others to the brand. Richard Sapper, one of the lead designers behind ThinkPad, remembers this about the X300.
My reaction to that was, I think, the same as everybody's reaction. This thing is, compared to other computers, so flat and so thin that it just shocks you. At the same time, it maintains the ThinkPad philosophy of a square box, but in an extremely thin proportion. This is certainly a striking appearance.
As you may know, the MacBook Air was released at a very similar time as the X300. In fact, some of them share some very important dates with one another.
So the audio is actually decent. It's clear. It's not going to be amazing, but they're using those 1-watt speakers in the best way possible, having them mounted on the sides of the display. Other things to note about the display is navigating the menu. The toggle switch just simply needs to be pressed into the device once, and you get your menu, which is color in the center of the screen and easy to navigate. Brightness, contrast, black levels, and sharpness is one menu. An eco mode with some other options for aspect ratios. Color temperature can be configured to your preference. You have OSD timing, transparency functions, and of course you have the volume here. Now my unit had to be turned up to get maximum volume, so just be aware of that. And then of course you can change the signal as you need to. And then you also have low blue light and HDR mode as well. So turning on HDR mode does give you that blast of very extreme color. It definitely adds an extra layer of what I could only describe unscientifically as pow. If we compare back to the image of the bird from the beginning, it almost looks a bit overexposed in some of the color areas. So if it were me, I'm probably going to end up leaving that either on auto mode or just off. But having the feature there is certainly nice. So with that being said, let's go ahead and hook this up to a bit more of an older computer and see how it performs. All right, so for our older computer setup, we will have our ThinkPad X220 on a docking station. I have already gone in and plugged in my cables in the back. So I've got Mini-HDMI and USB Type-C for power here. So I'll go ahead and plug those in to the side of the unit to provide the display signal and the power. And I have to say, it couldn't be simpler. That is plug and play at its finest. We've got the Mint logo here. We have our Kingfisher bird over here, which I'm going to drag over. Unsurprisingly, a ThinkPad TN panel is no match for an IPS display, and that remains true even in this situation here. The colors are just brighter, the whites are whiter, and it works flawlessly. There is no issues here. It displays perfectly fine. We don't have any screen flickering, and that can sometimes happen in Linux. This is fantastic. I think that at the price point of $199 US, this is what I would call a contender. It might have certain features absent that newer displays might, such as touch, but honestly, at this price point for what you're getting, I think that this is perfectly acceptable for a mobile display. If you would like one for yourself, I will leave some links in the description on where you can pick up one for yourself. But I think it seems to be a pretty safe purchase at this point. Throughout my use with it, if anything changes or if I have any additional thoughts to add, you'll see a follow-up video on the channel in the future. If you enjoy this sort of content and would like to see more, I'm going to encourage you to do the big four. Please like the video, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so the next time I get the opportunity to feature a mobile display like this, you'll be the first to know about it. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time.